Hi, I'm Laura D. Pusey, the founder of Dipism Death in Practice, and this is the channel where we are talking the things on dying, death, life, and grief. Each week I answer a question and I say it as I see it because I've seen a lot. Okay, one-to-one and group sessions are available through dipism.com, and you can see the links to the services I offer and my books in the description box below. In the last video, I answered the question, am I losing my mind? Right about now, I'd say we lost our minds a very long time ago, and the best thing that any of us can do is go absolutely batshit crazy. But if you still have questions about that video, or you want me to answer another question, then please send an email to deathinpractice@gmail.com. Okay, with all that said, let's open the veil of luminescence. With the intention of infinite truths, by the pulse of sacred light, I call forth the veil of luminescence. I anchor this veil in sovereign light to transmute and contain all energetic imprints, attachments, and residues across all realms. The material plane, where grief etches into the body. The emotional plane, where sorrow swells and purges. The mental plane, where stories of loss seek resolution. The astral plane, where echoes of the departed linger. The interdimensional corridors, where ancestral and cosmic threads intertwine. The parallel universes, where grief and grace mirror each other. This veil, woven of remembrance and radiance, is encoded with clarity to discern what is yours and what is not. Containment to protect your field, compassion to honor the sacred work of grief, transmutation to alchemize pain into wisdom. Let this veil shimmer between worlds, holding space for the divinity of each soul, the teachings where presence dissolves suffering, the soul's awakening where death births depth, the healing where grief becomes grace. This veil is not a wall but a sacred membrane, allowing only what aligns with truth, love, and remembrance to pass through. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good day, whoever you are, wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am answering the question, what if I break down and cry? Well, when I worked on a bereavement helpline, I spoke to so many people, older women in particular, who would say he or she wouldn't want me to cry, or I mustn't cry, or I promised I wouldn't cry, or he or she told me not to cry. Subsequently, I have given people permission to cry, and I've encouraged people to break promises that they wouldn't cry. These hang-ups that we have about not crying are really dangerous. They are not at all helpful. And we really do have to stop this narrative, because so much of our mental and physical health is down the drain due to years of backed up tears. Okay, so let's imagine you're unblocking a drain. Have you seen the advert that shows where the sludge comes out first and then the water can flow freely? We have a backup of toxic sludge that is stopping us from expressing ourselves freely. And it is this sludge that is killing us from the inside. The sludge accumulates from the stories that we have lived through or told ourselves in order to cope in a situation. The sludge comes from how we have seen other people react or what they have told us about emotions. The sludge comes from societal narratives that have us believing that we have to be strong. The idea of strength is hinged on going to war, fighting and killing people. It hangs on a history of destruction, cowardice and cruelty. It has been passed down as a method of survival, but it has eroded our natural abilities to communicate effectively. So we stifle our conversations, we stop ourselves and others from crying. At times, we may avoid being in certain situations, carrying out different activities, or even listening to certain songs that take us to places where the happy times are. But guess what? The happy times are inside you. They are literally alive within you. And what's even more mind-bending is that through those memories, we can even experience happy tears from the good times, the heartwarming, endearing light moments, from the fun, from the love and the laughter. And those experiences, yes, they may make us cry from time to time, but these are tears of happiness, tears of laughter, tears of deep inner joy and heartfelt appreciation. These are the type of tears that are only possible after an experience that has brought us to our knees. If you take some time right now to take a deep breath, close your eyes, and remember your loved one. What do you see? Where do you go? What are they doing? The chances are you will see them doing something that you have seen them do before. You'll be taken back to a time or a place, and these times and places exist within you. You are holding them. You are protecting them. And sometimes when we close our eyes, yes, horrible images may come to the fore. Maybe the last memories that you had of your loved one is horrific. If this is the case, you may want to speak to someone about these images, for the simple reason that the person you are remembering had a life before that particular event took place. And if your good memories are being overshadowed by your misery-making memories, then there is only so long that you can safely carry on seeing them. When we avoid seeing them, it is because we don't want to lose our composure and the experience of pain that comes with the stories of our lives. But these stories have become our lives. And when we don't acknowledge them, we store them in areas of our bodies where they clog up like sludge and eventually weaken us. When we suppress our emotions, they stay inside of us. We hold them in. Where do we hold them? Within our organs, our muscles, our blood, and our DNA. So we might get cold spots or hot spots within our bodies that are actually unnatural to the body's normal behaviour. Our bodies then have to work overtime to regulate. And we don't know that all this is happening until our bodies can no longer re-regulate. And so, over time, when we are physically unwell, our mental and emotional health can suffer too, as it may negatively impact upon our work, our ability to parent effectively or live our lives fully, causing more sludge for our physical to then try and process. This is a cycle that we need to break. Please go back and listen to what I've just said, all right? Take notes and ponder on these words, because this is a very damaging cycle that has been handed down through our generations. Yes, our lives are made up of stories from beginning to end. Stories and stories within stories. We actually concentrate more on the stories than we live our lives. I'm going to say that again. We concentrate more on the stories than we live our lives. The stories are not our lives. As I said, they have become representations of our lives. Remember, I spoke of the threads that make us in video 5. Every event in our lives has a start, a middle, and an end, because nothing physical lasts forever. Have you noticed how something you were really stressing over 2 years ago is now just a distant memory? Those stories came to conclusions and faded away, or changed in some way to allow you to move forward. The endings are constant, but we are seldom conscious of the endings because dynamics change, the stories fizzle, and we slide into surrounding stories that then dominate our thoughts and consume our fears and worries and fight for our attention. As I've said before, some stories will have started before we were born, some on arrival, and they just keep on coming every day throughout our lives. And imagine this, when we die, we will create more stories for other people to navigate. We can't help it. We are all part of a massive tapestry that has been draped over us through institutions, guilt and shame paradigms made colourful by these stories, which are the byproduct of being alive. We navigate the process of living through the starting and closing of stories. It's almost like we have been hijacked. Many of these stories are pointless. Sometimes we are dragged into stories that have nothing to do with us. And when we reach the end of our lives, we can feel regret over the time and energy that was invested into making them appear real and necessary. So, back to the question, what if I break down and cry? We don't like to cry because of an assumption that something bad will happen if we do. Many people have died over assumptions. An assumption is when we believe something is true, but we don't have the proof to back it. When you assume, you think someone is going to do something or react in a way, and then you act off whatever it is that you are assuming. Now, you might not want to give in to an emotional breakdown because you are imagining the shame. I get it. How would I be judged by others? What happens if I'm tipped over the edge and I can't stop crying? What if people lose respect for me or trust in me? What happens if my children see me break down? What if I ruin the funeral or whatever the event happens to be? Look, you are here on earth to have a human experience, and you were given a whole range of emotions to use when necessary. The people around you are also here for the exact same thing. Like you, they too have the opportunity to cry and express themselves. And quite frankly, what other people do with their emotions is their business. I ain't talking to them, I'm talking to you. We fear what might happen if we allow ourselves the opportunity to completely break down into floods of tears, because we are only ever given the worst case scenarios. But if we recognize that these are opportunities for internal healing and pressure reduction, for clarity, insight, and personal growth, we will free ourselves and others from the social stigma of crying. Our experiences deserve our tears, especially when we find ourselves in severe or life-changing scenarios. And don't our loved ones deserve our tears? After all the years that we have spent learning them, knowing them, sharing with them, enjoying them, loving them. My darling spiritual sister Amishade once told me that tears are the purest form of libation. I have never forgotten that. How better to show your appreciation for a life that has touched your very soul. And you know what? It is at this point that I will say, how dare you not cry for your loved one? How very dare you? Just who do you think you are, that you are above emotions that display the totality of your love? Come on now, fix up, look sharp. Go within yourself and allow your tears their natural path of release. Science says that when we cry, we release stress-reducing hormones called oxytocin and endorphins, which help shed stress hormones like cortisol. They lower tension, improve our mood, and allow the body to process difficult emotions and rebalance itself. We put pressure on our bodies through our thoughts and actions. And so, naturally, our bodies will appear to fail us from time to time, but our body is designed to fix itself with or without our awareness. As we age, we get more and more complex. Life is hard right about now, and some of our issues require more than our tears. So the natural process of crying can become less of an instant fix and more of a pressure valve that allows us to regulate ourselves. So cry, go for it, release that pressure, and then talk to someone who you trust or who is not in the mix, or get a pen and paper and journal. Write it out of your system. Then you can burn it, post it, freeze it, keep it, bury it, do whatever you like. Just be sure to get it out of your internal system to minimize physical or emotional harm down the line. So when did crying become a crime? Whose narrative are we losing our minds over? Who benefits from us failing to shed tears and allow our bodies the natural opportunity to repair? These are real questions that I want you to consider. You can send me your thoughts at deathinpractice@gmail.com if you like, but don't send me your stories. I have my own to navigate, okay? Now, we must also consider this very important fact. There are a group of people within our societies and communities who have weaponized crying. They have realized that crying opens the doors of sympathy for them that they can use and go on to abuse. Let me make this point abundantly clear. We are not speaking about manipulation techniques here, thank you very much. We are talking about heartfelt grief. And if you think that you personally are being abused through the tears of another, do this one thing. Whatever it is that they are crying about, do an online search to find the organisation that will help them to get over themselves. If they call the number, click the link, or make an appointment off their own back, then they are likely to be more genuine than someone who only talks about doing so. If they don't want to help themselves, you can't do anything to help them at all. I've learned that the hard way. If they don't want to make the effort for themselves, then they are gaining something from the situation. You are your responsibility. Before you can assist anyone else on their life journey, you have to sort yourself. That is your privilege, your honour, and your sovereign right. On the day you were born, you slid out into this earthly terrain, and the first thing you did was cry. You may even have screamed when you realised where you were and how cold it was. And before you could speak the dominant language, you communicated through your cries. And you had a different cry for each experience you were having. And your cries were often heard, and hopefully, I hope they were responded to. But when your cries were misunderstood or ignored, you had to adapt to the story that was playing out. And you have been adapting, assuming, and suppressing yourself ever since. Isn't it amazing? Now, I was going to add a story time about my now deceased parents, but it would have been too long. I will return to this subject another day. But for now, from what I have shared with you in this video, you can start making moves to live your own life. Identify the stories that are holding you back and take authority over that which is necessary for your own personal growth. That means you have permission and the privilege of crying. It is your sovereign right to cry. And when you have had a good cry, you can see things clearly, things that you might not have seen before, certain truths that may have led up to your experience. Maybe people will reveal who they are. Once you have released the build-up of your tears, you can see clearly. As a final side note, I will add this though. When I was at school a good few years ago, a good friend of mine told me that she pined for her mum when she left the country. My friend was very young and she cried herself to sleep every night. She got sick with migraines and fatigue as a result. No one knew that she had been crying herself to sleep, but when her family found out, she was given the extra love and support that she needed. If you can't stop crying, well, I would say get journaling. Seek support through a family member or a friend or a bereavement organisation like mine, which is Dipism, or consult with your doctor. Do it in whichever order is right for you. Okay, so I do speak about crying in the reference workbook, Tapestries of Grief, and I talk about a lot of stuff over there, so get ordering. If you want to buy Tapestries of Grief or My Life's Tapestry, which is a journal designed to help people to prepare for the future and ensure everyone is singing off the same hymn sheet at the end of life, then you can order copies from Amazon. If you like what you've heard, please hit that like button, smash it, punch it, push it, do whatever it takes, and then subscribe. If this video has touched you in any way and you need to share your thoughts, then you can do so. Send me an email at deathinpractice@gmail.com. Please state clearly whether or not any of your email can be shared. And if you want a shout out, then let me know what to call you. You can book your space on the monthly Zoom. At the moment, I only have 12 spaces available, and the event is in the link below. If you would like a one-to-one with myself or one of my grief practitioners, contact us at dipism.com. You can also find snippets of these videos on Instagram and TikTok and other YouTube channels. Finally, if someone you know needs to see this video, don't be a gatekeeper. Please do share it with them. All of my links are in the description box below. And now, let us close the veil of luminescence. One love. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I honour the veil of luminescence now fulfilled. This veil, once summoned to transmute and contain, has held the field with clarity, compassion, and sovereign light. As the teachings settle and the soul integrates, I call forth the sacred closure of this veil across all realms. On the mental plane, let the body rest in renewal. On the emotional plane, let sorrow soften into spaciousness. On the mental plane, let stories find stillness. On the astral plane, let echoes return to source. Through interdimensional corridors, let threads untangle. Across spheres and planetary systems, allow contracts to be honoured and released. Let all residues now return to their rightful place, dissolved, dispersed, or transmuted by sovereign light. Let the veil fold inward, encoded with discernment to preserve what is true, containment to seal what is sacred, compassion to cradle what remains tender, and wisdom to carry forth what has been alchemized. This veil is reabsorbed into the soul's archive, a luminous record of presence, grief, and transformation. By the breath of the infinite, by the pulse of the sacred, I seal this veil with sovereignty and light.